Hey, welcome back, dudes. So, the NBA draft lottery and the combine have come and gone, and we now know who will be picking where, and we've got a better look at some of the prospects in this draft. So, I want to do another mock draft with the new information that we have. I'm kind of glad I waited to do this video because now we're seeing some players withdraw their name or say they're going to stay. Like Axel Lindenberg, he decided to go back to Michigan to do his last year of eligibility, which I found surprising because I thought he had done enough to cement himself as a first round pick. So yeah, kind of surprising that he goes back to Michigan for another year. I would have thought he would have stayed in the draft. Other guys like Alex Condon, they're going back to school, which I don't find too surprising. But yeah, so with the new information we have, let's do another mock draft, this time post-lottery, post-combine edition. Yeah, so let's hop right into it. We're going to be doing a full first round mock draft. And I'll probably do another one closer to draft day, just because we might see some trades happen before the draft, or we might come up with new information, new rumors on the mill. Yeah, so Dallas Mavericks with the first pick. I still can't believe that they have the first pick. Like, I'm not saying the NBA is rigged. I'm just saying it's awfully convenient. Like, you trade away your generational superstar for essentially pennies, and you get rewarded with the first overall pick and Cooper Flag. I mean, it's no debate. They're going to take Cooper Flag. It really goes without saying at this point. I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be funny if the Dallas Mavericks won the chip next year? Like, it'd be funny, but also it would just piss everyone off. It would also make Nico Harrison look like a genius. They're either going to do that or they're going to draft like VJ Edgecombe and just tank next year. This one's really not up for debate anyways. It's Dylan Harper. Top two, it's pretty cemented. I don't foresee San Antonio trading this pick unless it's for Giannis, but I don't foresee the Bucks trading Giannis unless something like drastic happens within like the next month. Yeah, I mean at this point it's pretty clear cut. The Spurs are going to draft Dylan Harper. Their guard rotation is going to be set for the future. Like they're set. Like they have De'Aaron Fox right now who they can win right now with. They drafted Stephon Castle, rookie of the year, and now they're probably going to get Dylan Harper. And they probably will sign Chris Paul to have a mentor. Like they have a good guard rotation as it is. So Victor Wembanyama, he's going to have some great guards running alongside him for the future. So Philadelphia at 3. This is where the draft gets interesting in my opinion. It's kind of odd that like the top 3 teams this year, or the 3 teams selecting the top 3, they all have a chance of like winning next year, which I think is funny. I could foresee the Sixers trading this pick. Like maybe Brooklyn moves up, maybe the Jazz move up. Maybe one of those teams that really needed a top 3 pick trade up to get in the top 3 now. Because I don't think the Sixers need this pick. They could trade down and get like a win now kind of player, someone who can just like contribute right away. I mean, it just goes to show like you can tank all you want, you're still not guaranteed a top 3 pick. It's gotta suck if you're like a tanking team like the Hornets, the Jazz, the Wizards, who all 3 were bottom 3 teams and none of them get a top 3 pick. So as far as this pick goes, I think whoever is in the 3rd spot would draft Ace Bailey. If the Sixers do keep the pick, I kind of worry about the fit with Ace because he's going to need some development. We could also benefit from having like a solid, foundation around him. Yeah, so the fit is kind of questionable here. Ace Bailey, I think he's going to be the most polarizing like top prospect in this draft. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he falls from number 3. Like he's not selected number 3. He's listed at 6'10" at Rutgers. Comes to the combine only 6'7" without shoes. That's a big difference, being a 6'10" shot creator versus a 6'7" shot creator. Like he didn't really showcase like the athleticism to like make up for that dip in height. But yeah, I think as of right now, Ace Bailey's still number 3. We'll see what happens with this pick going further along. But moving along to Charlotte at number 4. I think VJ Edgecombe is the pick here. He's kind of a connecting piece, super athletic, which is what you want to surround LaMelo Ball with. You want to surround him with athletic guys. He could be a good running mate. Could be out there catching lobs. But he could also, be out there defending next to LaMelo. I think, Charlotte could also look at guys like, Trey Johnson, Kamal Malawach, I think they would be good fits, but I think what Charlotte should do is go with VJ at this point. Jazz, I think it's Trey Johnson. Super good shooter. I think, Jordan Clarkson, he's probably not long for this team anymore. I'm surprised they haven't moved on from him yet. They have Keontae George, but I'm not really too confident. I don't think Keontae George prevents you from taking a guy like Trey Johnson. Utah, they really need to land this pick because their past couple picks, Cody Williams had a really bad rookie season. Same goes for Taylor Hendricks. He's not really having a great start to his NBA career. So I think Utah really needs to land this pick. And I think Trey Johnson is a safe bet. So moving on, Washington at number 6. I think they need a point guard. It's pretty clear cut. They need a point guard. Guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Bub Carrington, I don't think they prevent you from taking a point guard. So that could be, looking at guys like Kasparis, Jack Jonas, or Jeremiah Fears. I kind of have Kasparis over Jeremiah Fears. Kasparis, he has the size. I still believe in the scoring, even though it kind of dipped at the end of the season. I think the playmaking's there. Jeremiah Fears, I just worry about his size and his. I'm still not confident in his 3-point shot. Fears is playing for a pretty mediocre Oklahoma team, so he kind of had to carry a brunt of the load for that team. I kind of question, was he putting up just empty stats, or I just don't know if what we saw at Oklahoma is indicative of the player he'll be in the NBA. I also just think Kasparis has a higher ceiling and higher potential, being at 6'6", as big as he is for a point guard. So New Orleans at 7. This team's kind of a mess right now. I'm gonna be honest. Who kind of knows what's gonna happen with Zion at this point? Really, the Pelicans could go a number of different ways. They could go point guard and Jeremiah Fears. They could go maybe a big man and Kamal Malawach. Yves Missi had a really good season. So I don't know if that prevents you from taking a guy like Kamal Malawach. I also like Con Knipple for them. But as of right now, I think I'm liking either Con Knipple or Kamal Malawach. Con, he brings great shooting, obviously. That's what he's known for. But I think, the intangibles are there. I think he's a tough player. I think he plays hard. He brings that winning attitude. He seems like kind of guy who does the little stuff, maybe, diving after loose balls, playing tough defense, doing the things that help team win, which, is kind of what New Orleans needs. Yeah, I think I'm talking myself into Con Knipple at New Orleans. So Brooklyn at number 8. Brooklyn, they have 4 first-round picks, and it's kind of hard for me to see them keeping all 4 first rounds. Maybe they'll supplement, the 26 and 27 to move up a little bit, or maybe the 19 to move up a little bit, maybe get another lottery pick. They're going to have an interesting draft, to say the least. But here, what they do at number 8, who knows what's going to happen with Nick Claxton. Their center rotation is looking kind of thin, so I think they go center. So is it Kamal Malawach or Derek Queen? And I kind of think that they would look at Derek Queen's versatility over maybe Kamal Malawach's defense and his lob threat potential. I think much more of a player than what I just mentioned, but I think Derek Queen has a tough post presence. He clearly has a strive to win. I kind of worry about his athleticism because even though he's undersized, usually guys have athleticism to make up for it. But the combine, he did not demonstrate, him being quick or him having, a good vertical. But I think even Brooklyn, I think you maybe take a risk, feel it out, see what happens. But yeah, I like Derek Queen to Brooklyn. And Toronto, I like Kamal Malawach. I think this is a pretty simple, easy pick. I think a lot of people are mocking this. So that's usually an indication that's not going to happen. Toronto, they fill out their center depth. He's got Jakob Poeltl to learn under. So I think it's a good fit there. So Houston at 10. This pick could also be traded. Houston doesn't really need this pick. We're seeing, rumors that this will be their bargaining piece for Kevin Durant, possibly, or somebody. Houston probably needs more shooting. I don't particularly like Jace Richardson anymore. Jace Richardson, he is listed as 6'3" right here, but he tested at the combine and he's only 6 foot flat without shoes. They kind of don't need another smaller guard. So he's really an undersized 2 guard. He didn't really flash, playmaking potential. He's a good shooter. That could be his ticket to getting drafted in the lottery. At this point, I think I'm kind of liking Carter Bryant to, only average 6.5 points, but I think that he is not the player that he was used as in Arizona. Arizona, they had Caleb Love, who probably dominated the ball, so it turned into limited touches for Carter Bryant. He could be like another Tari Eason kind of guy, playing defense, getting open looks from three. That's kind of just what they need at this point. All right, so Portland at 11. Last thing they need is a guard. We don't really know what's going to happen with Anthony Simons. I imagine he might be traded at some point. So maybe they try to round out their forward depth a little bit. So that could be a guy like, Colin Murray-Boyles or Asa Newell. But for me, I'm kind of liking Asa Newell. Jeremy Grant, he's probably not long for this team anyways. Asa Newell, he could be a lob threat, plays defense, could develop a nice three-pointer. Could be a good running mate along Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp. Chicago is a team that probably could use a guy like Carter Bryant or Asa Newell, so they're probably sad to see him go at this point. They'll probably target a center or another power forward. So I don't think Patrick Williams is really getting it done. You're paying him a lot of money for not a lot of production. They definitely don't need another guard. They don't need another guard. They have plenty of guards, and they keep just trading for guards. I don't understand why. So I think at this point, best player available, best forward available is Colin Murray-Boyles. A little bit undersized for a forward, but plays great defense. Now, there's still questions about his three-point shot, which Chicago probably needs. Probably need a little more shooting. Yeah, going best player available, I think Colin Murray-Boyles. Atlanta at 13. I think Noah Essengay is the pick here. He's going to be a developmental piece for sure. But I think Atlanta, what's really their timeline here? I know, they're trying to win with Trae Young, definitely. Yeah, but I think they take a flyer on a guy like Noah Essengay. All right, San Antonio. San Antonio really has 2 picks in the lottery. That's crazy. So they got Dylan Harper, which, solid. Good for them. I think here they can take the guy who's arguably like the biggest draft riser that we saw at the combine, and Cedric Coward. Only played 6 games at Washington State, but what he showed there was enough for teams to maybe use a first-round pick on him. And it says he's a shooting guard. He's probably really more like a shooting guard, small forward combo. I think that's kind of what San Antonio is looking for. They probably could use more like solid forward, but I think they take a risk on Cedric Coward. OKC is probably another team that could look at like a big man or a forward. They definitely don't need another guard. I'm seeing Danny Wolf mocked to them a lot, but I think this might be a little early for Danny Wolf. Not with like how this mock is going. You got Jeremiah Fears still there, Jace Richardson, Rasheer Fleming. I think those are all guys that will go before Danny Wolf. But here, I think OKC would target defense here. I think Rasheer Fleming is that pick. He seems like a guy who can contribute right away, which I think OKC needs, and it's probably what they're looking for. All right, Orlando at 16. I think here is where we see the slide for Jeremiah Fears. Stop. I don't really foresee him going this low. I think he's definitely would be a lottery pick. Most likely going to be a lottery pick. Just the way. But here in this mock draft, it just turned out he fell out of the lottery, just outside the lottery. But yeah, Orlando, they need shooting and they need a point guard. They need a more like traditional point guard. Right now they have a bunch of either defensive guys or more scoring guards. So I think they need like a more traditional point guard and Fears. I think shooting you can come by, in free agency. So I think, best player available. If Fears is still here at 16, why not? All right, Minnesota at 17. We're starting to see rumors about Naz Reid possibly going. Julius Randle, I kind of think they might hang on to him. So if Naz Reid, leaves at some point in the offseason, you probably want another center in your rotation. And I think you take Thomas Sorber. He'll be a good defensive player. You're kind of worried about the foot injury, but Minnesota, I think they'll be fine. So Washington with their second first-round pick at 18, they got Kasparis. So now they probably would want to go maybe like a forward. So honestly, for Washington at this point, I'm kind of liking Liam McNeely. Just get more shooting around this team. Corey Kispert's fine. Who knows what's gonna happen in Jordan Poole? They might get rid of him, or and then you kind of have that hole with shooting wise. So then I think Liam McNeely could probably fit in that gap. He struggled in the end of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up being a lottery pick. But we'll see. I think Washington here at 18, they take Liam McNeely. All right, so we got Brooklyn's second first round pick at 19. You go big man with Derek Queen. I think now you take a guard, and I think you take a fly on a guy like Nolan Traore's like potential. He used to be projected, top 5 pick. At the start of the offseason last year, fell a little bit after struggling to score. But now I think he picked it up. I think Brooklyn at this point, you probably take high potential guys. Like you're okay with taking like these boomer bust kind of players. And Nolan Traore, he could be really good. Could be your point guard of the future possibly. All right, Miami Heat. I think at this point, Jace Richardson, Nick Clifford, I think they could come off the board. I like Nick Clifford to Miami. I think he screams, Heat culture. He kind of be a replacement or another, Jaime Jaquez kind of guy. Good rebounder for 6'6" guard forward. Yeah, this dude just screams like Heat culture. All right, we got Jazz with another first round pick. Where do they go here? I think Agor Demon, if he's still on the board, I think best player available, I think you take him. It says he's a shooting guard here, but I think he's really more of a point guard, like a 6'9" point guard. If that's really his playing style, like who wouldn't want that? Like, especially in Utah. You're kind of worried about his shooting, but that's why he took Trey Johnson with the 5th pick to kind of supplement that. So I think it's a good risk here for Utah. Atlanta with their second first round pick. They could use a big man, but I think, this is where Jace Richardson comes off the board. I think they could probably use some more shooting coming off the bench. Yeah, so he's 6 foot flat. He's really not much of a passer at 1.9 assists, but maybe you can develop him into being a facilitator. So we'll see what happens. Still, bottom line, he's still a good shooter. So Indiana at 23. I think you're looking for some 2 guards here. I think Will Riley, a 6'8" shooting guard, is very enticing. I think Indiana at this point would be a fool to not take him. All right, OKC with their second first round pick. OKC could probably be another team that also trades up, maybe, or they trade away these picks. But Danny Wolf's still on the board. Let's take him. I'm sure they would love his, versatility playmaking wise. Michigan was using 2 7-footers for, pick and roll plays. He's not a great defender, which I think it's okay. You still have Chet. You have Isaiah Hartenstein for a few more years. Yeah, why not take Danny? So we have Orlando with their second first round pick. So they took Jeremiah Fears with the 16th pick. I think they need shooting. So who's left here is that it's a good shooter. Or maybe, like I said earlier, you can find shooting in free agency. I think a guy that kind of fits their identity is a dude Thero. Another great defender, which I think, he would fit right along in Orlando. And they could really just find their shooting in free agency. So Brooklyn, they're gonna have back-to-back first-round picks here. I think here you just kind of find, high potential guys. Ben Seraph, I think it's a good pick here. And then I'm seeing Joan Behringer rise up draft boards. You already took a center in Derek Queen. I think you're okay if you double up. You have 4 first rounders. I think if you take 2 guards, if you take 2 power forwards, if you take 2 of anything here for Brooklyn, you're okay. So yeah, we're gonna go with Joan Behringer here, 27. So now we have Boston at 28. I think they need a center here for sure. I don't really like Janai Broom here. I think he is more of a second rounder guy. I think a guy who is a first rounder is Maxime Reynaud. This guy was a 20 point per game scorer. He can stretch the floor. He's a unicorn. Kristaps, he's probably gone. Al Horford, he's going to retire soon. I think you need another big man to help themselves out, and he's not going to be a great defender, but he can stretch the floor, which I think would suit Boston very well. All right, 29 with Phoenix. Yeah, who knows what this team's going to look like next year. They're another team that could probably use a center, but there's not really any centers that he would use a first round pick on at this point. If this team is trying to win now, I think Cam Jones is a solid fit there. I really don't know what the Suns are going to do. They might blow it up or at least trade Kevin Durant. They might try to win. So going under that assumption, I think Cam Jones is the pick here. Now we have the Clippers with the 30th pick. Here, why not go with March Madness star Walter Clayton Jr. Great shooter. He's not really much of a passer, I would say, but he can shoot the lights out of the ball. What team couldn't use more shooting? I think, Walter Clayton, he definitely made his case for a first round pick. maybe a little undersized if he is a shooting guard. But you know what? Why not? All right, so that is my first round mock draft, post lottery, post NBA Combine edition. Let me know what you guys think of my draft. Did I get it right? Did I get something wrong? I probably got a lot wrong. Let me know in the comments. So roast me if you think I'm way off course. I'm here for it. I'm here for the discourse. Yeah, so like I said, I'll probably come out with another one, right before draft day, maybe take a week leading up to it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. I know I'm mostly a gaming channel, but I like basketball. I like NBA. I kind of nerd out with this NBA mock draft stuff. It's something I like to do every year. Yeah, you can follow me on X and Twitch. But yeah, I'm excited for this draft season. It should be interesting, to say the least. Who do y'all think is going to win the NBA championship? It's looking like it's going to be OKC and the Pacers. I think, whoever OKC plays, even the Knicks pull it out, I think that OKC has it. They look like the better team. They just look more dominant. But so with that being said, y'all take it easy, dudes. I'll catch you next time.